Hello and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Thai Talk with Dan. Right, I hope everybody is safe and well, and apologies for being quiet for the past 2 weeks. I just wanted to let the dust settle because things got a little out of hand, but everything is sorted now, and I will give you an update at the end of today's story. So, in today's video, Asian love, an expensive sponsorship, and a moral quandary. Let's get into today's Thailand story. Hello Dan, so sorry to hear about your troubles with your ex-wife. Hang in there and I am sure things will work out for you and your son. I have been enjoying your channel for almost 2 years now, and I have been amazed at the trickery of Thai women and gullible nature of Western men. But despite your cautionary tales, it turns out that I may be just as gullible as the rest. My story in many ways is typical. An old man falls for a youngish Thai woman, but has a few different details that may make it of interest to your subscribers. So here goes. I fell in love with Asia when I was 16 years old. My dad was working in Korea and I visited him during the school vacations. Since there was no direct flights from the UK, I had to change planes in Hong Kong. There was 1 day layover and I was booked into a nice hotel in Simatsui overlooking the bay. As I disembarked from the aeroplane, I was surprised to be met by a gorgeous Chinese air stewardess. Quite simply, the most beautiful woman I had ever seen in my life. It turns out that the airline BOAC, as it was then called, had got my age wrong and thought that I was a toddler. That is why they had assigned a nanny to look after me. She took me out to dinner, took me bowling, unfortunately her boyfriend came for the ride, and then accompanied me to my hotel.
Shit, here we go again.
She was booked into the room next to mine. You can imagine that I had sweet dreams. Fast forward a few years and I married a Chinese. That did not work out, so I married another. We got divorced a few years ago and I was about to retire. I looked at options in Asia. Thailand seemed a good choice for obvious reasons: sun, beaches, and the ladies. But having bought my aeroplane ticket, I got cold feet and decided to stay in the USA, where I had been working for many years. But I still had the non-refundable ticket, so a few months before it expired, I took a trip to Thailand. That was last summer. I didn't go to Pattaya since I am not interested in the bar scene, but instead made Hua Hin my base. I also travelled a bit to see various temples. I have to admit I had a few massages which were fun, but then I made a fateful decision. I was feeling a bit lonesome one evening, so I signed up for Thai Friendly.
Oh God, I love you.
My criteria was someone living in Hua Hin, aged between 40 and 60 years old. Of course, I was inundated with invitations from women from age 20 upwards, and not just from Hua Hin. There was one who interested me. She was 38 years old and looked stunning. She described herself as half Swiss, quarter Thai and quarter Chinese. So I called her up and asked her if she would like to meet. She said yes and said she would give me a nice massage. I immediately understood that she was really a freelancer. I went around to her apartment and she started the massage. Of course, you know the way it was going, but then we got talking and it ended up as a platonic session, if you can believe that. Anyway, I fell head over heels for her and we spent a week together in my condo. After my first trip, I went back to Thailand a few months later and we stayed together for a month. We had a great time and I met her 2-year-old daughter who lived with her half-sister in Bangkok and various other family members also. I began supporting her after the first trip and she said that she had given up her freelancing. Maybe I am naive to believe her, but we talked every day at least twice, so maybe she is telling the truth. However, there is one red flag that I have tried to ignore. One day on my second trip, we were together with a few family members in a mall and one of them, her uncle, put his arm around her waist and she reciprocated for a few seconds. I don't think that they saw that I had noticed. Of course, I have heard the many stories of Thai girlfriends who have a Thai boyfriend that they claim is a brother or uncle. So I was immediately suspicious. Could he be the father of her child? She claimed that the father had died in a motorcycle accident while she was still pregnant. I did not challenge her about her uncle until I was back in the USA a few months later. At first, she did not understand who I was talking about and then began laughing. She said her uncle is mentally retarded and cannot even write his own name. I am not sure that is true since he has a Facebook page. At any rate, he does not seem to be around any longer and never expressed any interest in her daughter. Since the second trip, I have continued to support her, but I asked her what she wanted to do with her life. She used to have a small restaurant in Bangkok, which she says collapsed when COVID hit. So I agreed to help her set up a restaurant just outside Hua Hin. It cost me about 150,000 baht. But I also bought her a motorcycle so that she could go to the market to buy supplies. And that has been my downfall. The restaurant is little more than a roadside shack on the main road from Bangkok to the south. But it was just the beginning to make some reasonable money when she contracted dengue fever, which put her out of action for a few days. She struggled to get going again, but while still not fully recovered, started to ride the bike. Now, unfortunately, she had an accident on March the 17th and broke her foot as well as lacerating her leg. The wound got badly infected and I have been footing the hospital bills since then. These have run to tens of thousands of baht. To make matters worse, her daughter is now in the ICU with fever in Bangkok. I am due to visit Thailand later in April, but I am now in two minds whether to cancel my trip. To be honest, I don't think I have enough money to rent a room for 6 weeks and a car for some of the time as well as supporting her. She says that I should not worry about sending her any more money and that she wants me to come. But of course, she really needs the money more than she needs me. I cannot afford to keep supporting her and I know I will have to end the relationship at some point. I would have done so already if it was not for her accident and her daughter. But I feel that it would be irresponsible of me to abandon them now. Before she is back on her feet, literally and figuratively, I am in a real moral quandary. I have actively encouraged her to find another or an additional sugar daddy, but she doesn't want to do so. That might be the best solution. I wonder what you and your subscribers think I should do. Right, firstly, thanks very much for sharing your story on the channel. It's a bit of a difficult one for me to answer because you've not stated whether or not you have proof that her daughter has been in the hospital, that she has been in the hospital. Have you seen the medical bills, or have you just been believing in what you're getting told and just sending money? If it's a case where they are genuinely sick, then yeah, there's not really anybody else to help with those kind of medical bills apart from yourself. So it's a difficult one for me, but I will leave it to the subscribers of the channel to give you their thoughts. But for myself, I don't have enough information about what you really know about her and what's really going on. So it's a dodgy one. But if you can't afford it and it's stopping you from going on your holiday and stuff, yeah, it's an issue. And at the end of the day, they'll always find a way to get the money for the medical bills if you can't pay it, whether that's getting a loan, getting debt, getting other family members to help out. At the moment, you're here, you're around, you're willing to foot the bill. So yeah, unfortunately, she is going to lean on you. Right guys, now in regards to the difficult part about my own situation, I've not seen my son now for almost 2 weeks. He's been with his mother. She's literally looking after him for 2 weeks, and then I'm looking after him for 2 weeks, and that's the agreement. We have no communication, etc. anymore between me and her. We deal with a third party, and I think that's the best way forward. So I don't really want to discuss anything else on the channel so much, guys. I appreciate everybody's support, the emails, everything. There's still so many emails and messages that I need to reply back to. I've just needed these 2 weeks to accept that this is all over now. It got to a certain level where it started to get quite serious, that family and stuff got involved, and it's all been dealt with now. And the agreement has been about focusing on our son and definitely not each other. So I think that we will both be much happier for this, and I think my son will be much happier. I've just got to get to grips on not seeing my son for 2 weeks, which is quite difficult for me. Very difficult for me, to be honest. And that's been one of the major reasons why I've been so quiet for the past 2 weeks. I've just needed that extra time, and now I just want to get into a routine, go to the gym in the morning, go for a swim, get working. As soon as I've finished work, go back to the gym, go back for a swim, pick my son up from school when I have him for those 2 weeks, and just get into a healthy routine and a healthy life here, and just try to do the best for my son now, and try to think about creating a future to make things better for him. There's still a lot to do if I'm going to stay here and help support my son, be a good father, etc. I have to have a plan in place because that's the type of guy that I am. In regards to everything, it will all get solidified properly, if you get my meaning. So it will all be done the right way, because I don't want any more future problems. I just want to put this chapter in my life behind me and move forward, and just be around for my child. Right guys, if you've got your own Thailand story and you want to share it on the channel, then believe you and me, I am going to be active and I am going to be busy. So I'm going to get through the backlog of stories. So if you want to share your own story where it might help other people, warn other people, just share your experience, etc., or you need some advice, get your emails sent in to thaitalkwithdan@gmail.com. In regards to all the emails and messages, I've literally hardly replied back to anyone, guys, for the past 2 weeks. So I'm going to be playing catch up with that as well. So I will reply back to you very soon. Apart from that, take it easy, stay safe here in Thailand, enjoy yourself, and don't be another statistic. Ciao for now, guys. Bye bye.